NHADCH 11.1 I had outdoor summer training, last part. As I'm tumbling down the cliff, my head's full of curses, mostly of the damn it variety. The feelings of relief from saving the girl and the confusion and upset from my predicament makes it hard to think. What should I do? Even though this is an important event. Even though I ran the simulation in my brain over and over already. I still made a mistake. OWW. My shoulder makes impact with the ground first. As expected, my head and back don't escape harm as well. For a moment I feel as though my consciousness is fleeing, and my breathing pauses for a second. The farther I fall from the top, the darker my surroundings become, until my whole figure disappears in the shadows. It's silent, pitch black as far as the eye can see. Even the sound of insects are absent. Because today's cloudy, I can't see the shining stars or the moonlight. My whole body aches, racked with pain, and I struggle to rise. The back of my head feels disgusting. Wet. I wonder what is it. Maybe there is something wet on the ground. I glance to the side. In the middle of the darkness, I see a bunch of little glowing orbs. Glowing even when there's no light around. 10, 12, maybe even more than that. Several small round lights. Then I hear a growl. Those lights aren't lights at all. Those are eyes. The eyes of countless beasts glowing in the darkness. And what's lurking in the middle of the darkness is a pack of demon dogs. So here's my bad end, huh? I think I've worked hard enough. I really think I've done well to reach this point. These past 3 years too. I worked my butt off and didn't have any objections. In desperation, I strived my best to stay alive. Not only for myself though. I also wanted Alfred, Granny Marie, the kids at the church, Loendel, Leon's parents and brother, the friends I made in this world, and the leisurely villages to survive. I don't want to see anyone die. However, even though I worked so hard to avoid that day. Will I die here? In the end, I will die. Sooner or later. But do I really have to die here alone? The distance between the glowing eyes and me gradually shortens. To be feasted upon alive must surely hurt, I'm afraid. Even though I want to run, as expected I can't move my body. I can't stop trembling. If I die in this world, what will happen to me? Will I really die? No hopes of returning to my original world. Unlike in the game, if I, Alfred, and everyone here lose our lives, then that's it. There's no redo button. Just a big, fat, game over. Leanne. I turn my head in the direction of the sound. I faintly make out Alfred's figure on the cliff side. He's descending while searching for footholds among the rocks and sturdy tree branches that happen to be along the way down. Why? Why have you come down on your own? Upon reaching the bottom of the cliff, Alfred notices me on the ground. His eyes widen and he rushes to my side. He's somewhat panicked. A rare state to see him in. Leanne. Oi. Are you okay? Since he seems like he wants to rush over and lift me up, I raise the only hand that I can move. He stops in his tracks. Now is not the time for that. Alfred, be careful, the surroundings. Surroundings. Alfred lifts his face, sweeping his gaze through the foot of the cliff and beyond. After a while, he seems to see something dire, eyebrows furrowing and expression growing grim. He probably saw the lurking pack of demon dogs like I did. Demon. Growling, one of the demon dogs slowly approaches from the darkness. It'll definitely be the first to attack. Once it confirms the prey and gives the signal, the rest will charge us at once. Read this at perpetualdaydreams.com. I rack my brain for a solution, searching through my memories. If I remember correctly, in the game there should be a sword somewhere around here. Next to the corpse of the priest with the magical ring, there should be the corpse of a knight who had died protecting said priest. And next to the knight's corpse should be his sword. Luckily, we're close to it. The unsheathed blade is covered in soil, rusted here and there. It looks terribly worn out. But that's not what's important. Upon closer inspection, the blade is smooth and continuous, lacking chips or dents. And judging by its degree of rusting, the quality of the sword should be considerably good, right? And just like my memory of the game dictates, there are 2 corpses next to this sword. One of a man in full armor and another of person dressed like a priest, swathed in previously white robes with decorations adorning the body. These corpses have probably lay here for a long time. Because they are exposed to wind and rain for so long, they are pretty much skeletons at this point. The clothes of these corpses have taken on a brownish hue. According to the storyline, this knight and priest duo were pursued by demons while rushing to finish an errand and return to the headquarters of their religious organization. Unfortunately, the two of them fell off the cliff mid-flee. Then they were eaten alive. I tug on the edge of Alfred's shirt. After confirming that his eyes are clear and on me, I quickly point to the direction where the sword should be. Alfred realizes what I want to say and reaches for the sword. Meanwhile, the demon dogs leap in with a howl. Alfred, stay there. Don't move. His hand finally curls around the sword's hilt and he immediately swings it, drawing a crescent in the air. But the demon dogs catch the blade with their razor-sharp teeth. Now that the sword's movement stops halfway, it looks like that's the end of Alfred's attack. However, Alfred is stronger than the demon dogs. He's able to lift the blade just like that, the sudden force blasting the demon dogs into the air. For a second, the demon dogs pause. But they quickly burst into a roar once more, leaping toward Alfred in a frenzy. Before I can make sense of things, the event's battle has unfolded before my eyes. With Alfred's graceful and efficient moves, the demon dogs are defeated one by one. I feel like I've seen these moves before. These are the sword techniques that I learned from the sword instructor in school. The ones which I taught Alfred secretly. These sword techniques aren't the basic kind they teach in class. They're melded with classical forms of martial arts, making them useful in actual combat. Alfred has also mastered the wildfire magic. That's because of me. After thinking a long time about the disaster day, I casually taught Alfred a technique, one that I had remodeled to only require a small amount of energy to use. That way, he can continue fighting for a long period without running out of magic power. It seems like they actually came to good use. Ah, I'm glad. My effort was not useless. He can fight. That is enough. Like this, surely, Alfred can survive. Suddenly, my peripheral vision catches a slight glow farther away. A ring. I crawl to it, moving my injured right shoulder one way or another. I reach out. My hand grabs the soiled ring. Once Alfred obtains this ring, the event can be considered cleared. Grabbing the ring tightly, I glance up at Alfred's location. More than half of the demon dogs lie dead or unconscious on the ground. As expected, the rest of the demon dogs lose the fighting spirit and dash off into the darkness with the tails lowered. Did he win? After Alfred's last swing of the sword, he turns around and rushed toward me. Ah, he won. I'm glad. I'm really glad. Alfred is safe. Leanne, get up, get a grip. I'll bring you to the school physician quickly. Being lifted into his arms, I feel the pain in my left shoulder, right leg, back, and back of my head flare back in action. My whole body feels sore. Before I forget, I hand the ring to Alfred. Here. What? A ring. The moment his fingers brush against it, the ring takes on a faint glow. Alfred widens his eyes slightly. His movements freeze. Perhaps he's hearing the words of the dead priest's spirit in his head. Something like, "Gentleman from the same village and with the same ancient blood as me, please deliver this ring to the bishop of the religious organization's headquarters." That's if the story is progressing according to the game. While Alfred furrows his brows and makes a difficult face, he casually places the ring into his pocket. Why are you treating it so roughly, huh? That is a key item, you know. Please take care of it. But anyway, the ring was properly handed to Alfred. And Alfred survived. This is enough. At the beginning I was worried that we wouldn't make it, but I have accomplished Leanne's duty in the end. NHADCH 11.2. Leanne. The blood is blood. Alfred reaches a hand toward me and brushes his fingers on the back of my head. That hand trembles slightly. When he brings it before my eyes, I see the red of blood. Ah, that. So that's why the back of my head felt wet before. Please bear with it for a bit. I will quickly take you back. As Alfred's lifting me up, I shake my head. You don't have to hurry. Although I've lost some blood, the bleeding seems to have already stopped. And it doesn't hurt that much, so it's okay. But, Alfred, I'm sorry, but can you go back first and call the teacher over? I will wait here. Huh? Are you stupid? What will you do if the demon dogs come back? I'll be fine for a while, probably. Oh yeah, can you leave the sword here just in case? And I also brought a lot of recovery medicine. So that's why, you go first. Call the teacher over. Go first. Yeah, I can't exactly move my limbs right now. So going back together, that will be very difficult. That's why you should just quickly leave now. Alfred looks down and shakes his head. Why are you refusing? He won't be able to climb up the cliff while carrying me. It's more efficient and quick for Alfred to just climb first and lead the teacher here. Most of the pack of demon dogs had already gotten their asses kicked by Alfred, and the several who managed to escape had fled with the tails tucked between their legs. So they won't be coming back anytime soon. Waiting here for a while should be okay. I think Alfred should have known that. I give Alfred's shoulder a light push. Come on. I'm okay. Stop worrying about me and just go. This kind of cliff should be easy peasy for you, right? So even if you have to go alone, just go. I won't go. Yelled at suddenly, I jerk my head up without even knowing it, my eyes wide with surprise. Alfred's eyes are still lowered, and with the cave as dark as it is, I can't make out his expression. My bad, he says. How much recovery medicine did you bring? 4 pieces. Take all of them out. Since he bluntly reaches out a hand, I stick my hand into my pocket and pull out all 4 of the pieces. I drop them into Alfred's palm. Where does it hurt the most? Maybe the left shoulder, fewer. He tugged off my shirt so abruptly, and is now smearing the medicinal salve all over my shoulder without waiting for any of my input. Too sudden. It's too sudden. I can't even react in time. He also rubs the salve on the back of my head, back, and right leg, leaving no piece of recovery medicine unused. Never had I imagined that what I brought to use on Alfred will be used on myself. How is it? Feel like you can walk? No, but it's not like I definitely can't walk. When I stand up, the pain encircles my neck, runs down my back and travels to my right foot, causing me to stumble. Since Alfred quickly catches me, I don't fall to the ground. I should have brought more recovery medicine. You don't have to force yourself, I'll look for a place that's climbable for the both of us. After Alfred says that, he stands up with me in his arms. Why? If both of his hands are occupied it'll be bad, right? What is he thinking? Alfred, wait. I told you it's fine. I'm pretty sure those guys won't be coming back again. I'll just wait here obediently, so. No good. But, if I say it's no good, then it's no good. I definitely will not leave you here. Never again. Alfred's voice is stiff and gruff, as if he's enduring something. Alfred, not listening. He declares he won't be listening. With an angry tone. What the hell is that? I don't understand it at all. There's no indication that he will put me down, and I sigh. After surveying the foot of the cliff for a while, we finally find a side that has collapsed, forming a relatively gentle slope. Even though I use the word gentle, a slope is still a slope, and because there are rocks and trees in the way, I don't suppose it'll be an easy climb. Thinking that this is impossible no matter how you look at it, I once again tell Alfred to leave me behind. But for who knows why, he scolds me again. Why? Did I say something infuriating? I didn't, right? In the end, Alfred still ignores me, and ascends the cliffside while holding me. As I've said before, even for the high-spec future hero, scaling cliff while carrying another person in their arms is practically absurd. Even so, for some reason, Alfred doesn't abandon me. One way or another, we finally reach the animal trail back. Jade and his friends rush over, tears and snot running down the faces. I'm not sure why, but they keep apologizing to me. I try to combat this by claiming the blame instead, and tell them they shouldn't feel guilty. But that just makes them cry even more. The fact of the matter is I am the one who started this trouble. It's also because of my carelessness that I got myself into such a pickle. Basically, I'm the one who should be apologizing to them. Even at the teacher's arrival, Alfred still doesn't put me down. I try to talk my way out of it, saying I must be heavy, but he just strikes back saying I'm too light. I can't wipe the shock off my face. It's not like I have an eating disorder. So how could I be that light? I'm the average weight for my size. Anyway, I report what I saw at the bottom of the cliff to the teacher. Mainly, the corpses of the priest and the knight. The teacher tells me they'll report this to the lodging administrator, so that the corpses can at least receive a proper burial. In the game they were left as they were, but to do such a thing in real life seems too miserable. In the end, the teacher does not restart the test of courage from the beginning. Instead, it was cancelled halfway that night, filling me with guilt. I sweep my gaze through the crowd around me. Everyone is staring at me, unspoken words in their eyes. It's so awkward that I can't even lift my face. You bastard, why are you putting me in this kind of situation? It's making me the target of all these whispers. I'm curious about what they're saying, but I'm also scared to hear what it is. It's definitely something worthless. That's why I told you before to quickly put me down. NHADCH 11.3. After the beautiful and bespectacled school physician patched me up, I'm finally able to walk. Moreover, the super sticky, for some reason unwilling to let me down Alfred finally releases me. As if both the worried trio of bullies and Alfred trail after me like ducklings after their mother until I reach my room. I have to keep persuading them to go back to their own room. That I'm perfectly fine. In the end, the trio reluctantly leave. But Alfred is still as stubborn as a bull. After pulling a chair beside my bed, he sits down. Lying on the mattress, I sigh. Look, Alfred, my injuries are already healed. I'm fine. You're also tired from today, right? That's why, quickly go back to your room and sleep. If your wounds hurt during the night, wouldn't you be troubled? Well, it's obvious that my injuries aren't 100% healed. In my opinion, light injuries don't really require specialized medical treatment. But since I'm not an expert on this topic, I had the doctor check me out just in case. They told me I had no internal injuries. There shouldn't be any problem, since the doctor was the one who said this, right? I study Alfred's appearance. For some reason, he looks different from usual. Or maybe it's just my imagination. Why do you, the one who saved me, look so sad? His face is tilted toward the floor. His eyes, half hidden by golden locks, seem somewhat deep. Somewhat dark. Alfred, blood, you were bleeding so much. What if I come back to fetch you in the morning and your body is ice cold? Hey, why is this bastard saying such ominous things? What will you do if they come true? You shouldn't say those kinds of things out loud, you know. Grandpa used to remind me of this over and over. Both good and bad words have their own power, so I shouldn't run my mouth carelessly. To dispel the ominous prediction, I rise a bit from my bed and smack Alfred's head with all my strength. Stupid. Don't say such unlucky things. Even though I hit him, Alfred doesn't budge an inch, face still lowered. Telling me, what? I hear him muttering with a low voice, telling me to go first. To leave them behind. Everyone who has ever told me that died, Mom too, you said the same thing she had said back then. So I could have died for ordering you to leave me, huh? Fed up with such flawed logic, I take a deep breath. I won't die. Didn't you come and save me? That's why I'm still alive, right? But Alfred still does not raise his head. Alfred. At the sound of my voice, he finally looks up. But when I peer into his eyes, I find that they are a dark shade of indigo. They're out of focus, looking toward me, but not actually seeing me. Shadows cloud brilliant blue, tainting them even darker. I feel distressed from the bottom of my heart. I feel uncomfortable sending him away like this. Judging by his current gloomy state, I doubt he'll recover even with a full night's rest. Then I will say my thanks, Alfred. Thank you for saving me. It's because you came to look for me that I'm alive. Alfred does not respond. To beat up that many demons, aren't you pretty awesome? Still no response. Even after I thanked and praised him, he still cuts a sad figure. There's also no indication that he'll respond anytime soon. This is troubling. What should I do in this situation? Tea, that's right. Do you want to drink something? I have some fruit juice on me. I can give you a bottle if you want. Alfred shakes his head. When I ask if he's hungry, he also shakes his head without uttering a word. Uneasiness and distress growing within me, I want to raise my head toward the skies. And then beg heaven for some answers. Well, if you want to stay, then stay. It doesn't really matter. It can't be helped that I feel uneasy with him sitting beside me like this, staring straight at me expressionlessly. It's scary. To have Alfred leave my room in his current state worries me. But I also think it'll do him good to rest. He fought off a huge pack of demon dogs and scaled the cliff while carrying me. He must be exhausted to the bone. So I'm going to use my last resort. I'll compromise with him. Can you stop sitting there like a block of wood? And if you keep staring at me like that, I won't be able to go to bed. So, I shuffle closer to the wall, leaving half of the bed unoccupied. Then I tap him on the shoulder a few times. Can't you at least lie down? Since it can't be helped, I will lend the edge of the bed to you. But only the edge. The bed is so big that I don't mind sharing a little piece of it with you. Just cause it's the edge and all. Still looking my way, Alfred blinks several times. How mysterious. And then he's motionless again as he stares. What more do you want? Even though I've already taken into consideration your circumstances, going through so much pain to do so, you're still unwilling to compromise. If you don't like it, then just quickly go back to your own room. All of a sudden, Alfred rises from the chair. Just when I think he'll leave, he removes his shoes and climbs into my bed. Looks like he doesn't have the will to return to his room. Seriously, what the heck is this? This kind of unresponsive Alfred really unsettles me. Read this at perpetualdaydreams.com. Right after lying down, he sneezes loudly. I sigh. It can't be helped, so I pull the quilt over him, sharing half of it. I mean, I have no choice. It can get pretty chilly at night on the mountain. If he catches a cold, then I'll have an even bigger headache. Really, you can't even take care of yourself properly. What a troublesome kid. Talk about the pot calling the kettle black. If he can just realize his color himself, then I won't have anything to worry. He shuffles closer to me, going so far as to snuggle into my chest. His hair tickles my chin. I told him he can only have the edge of the bed, so why is this bastard sticking so close? Your heart is beating. Of course, you idiot. Won't it be bad if it isn't? Is that so? What you mean with is that so? Do you really understand what I said? Please get a hold of yourself, future hero. Why do you look so dejected? Seriously. I'm begging you. I'm asking you a favor. Please return to your normal self tomorrow. After I make sure the quilt's covering his shoulder properly, Alfred rushes to wrap his arms around me, his happiness apparent. It feels really warm and hard to breathe. But he looks a bit more energetic. What a relief. I smile bitterly. Even though he steadily grows taller and larger than me, he still acts like a kid. That's right. He is still a kid. Right now, he is only 15 years old, huh? We met when we were 12 years old. So since then, 3 years had passed. He's already mostly grown up. Back then, he was smaller than me and severely underweight, so thin that it seemed with just one poke and he would collapse. Now he has sturdy muscles, and won't fall so easily anymore. He is also mastering the sword techniques I've been secretly teaching him little by little. Nowadays, during some of our spars, I'm in threat of losing. Really makes me quite fearful. But at the same time, I feel happy when I think about this. Please grow up quickly while still retaining your straightforward and honest personality. I see, maybe this is it. This must be how a father feels toward his kid, huh? While I'm immersed in these wholesome emotions, Alfred suddenly raises his face. For some reason, he's staring at my nape. What? The wound. Blood is oozing out. No sooner after saying that, he sticks his tongue out. And he licks me. Then he licks me again on the side of my throat. Wait, what are you doing, stupid? Ow. I pull my hand back after smacking the top of Alfred's head. Why the hell are you always doing shocking things so suddenly? I can't predict when they're coming. It's bad for my heart. Don't lick me. Listen. If you keep doing weird things, I will kick you out. Though I'm not sure what the hell I mean by weird things. Got it. After replying to me obediently, he moves back to his original spot. Really, I can't be too careful with him. Despite being just a kid, this brat occasionally does things that can be considered as sexual harassment. If intentional, then it can only get worse. If not intentional, then it's in his nature and he does not realize it. I'm unable to figure it out. Feeling helpless, I can't say anything. If you're satisfied, go back to your own room. I can feel Alfred nodding near the base of my neck. A loud sigh escapes my lips. With such a sticky child who's even larger than me latching onto my body, I close my eyes. Alfred's body heat makes me feel relieved, and I easily fall into slumber. The next day, waking up near the crack of dawn, I realize that Alfred's no longer next to me. But the bed sheet is still warm. He must have left just a while ago. Which means he slept here the whole night. Good grief. Later in the morning, I bump into Alfred at the canteen. Upon seeing me, he brushes a hand on the back of my head. I reply with a smack to his own head and tell him not to touch me so suddenly. His face is expressionless as usual, but it does seem like he's reverted to his original state. I feel relieved. The outdoor training ends safely one way or another. And the event that had my head spinning for the better part of a week has been cleared too. With this, it seems he won't encounter any danger for now. And as expected, Alfred's actions that night spread through the school like wildfire. In those stories, Alfred's hailed as the hero who fought against a pack of demons and saved the princess, raising his popularity even more. Hey, wait a minute. Who do they mean by princess? Who are you brats talking about? Which one of you guys started this gossip? If I find you, I'll strangle the living daylights out of you, okay?